Good afternoon, Internet. And Jim is not muted again, so I'm going to repeat that.
This award-winning podcast.
All right, and I'm going to classify that as a dead start so that we can edit that bit
When
out.
have we ever done a seamlessly good start?
This is true. Anyway, good afternoon, Internet. Welcome into the Tech Off Topic podcast. This is usual time of Friday Madness, even though you'll probably not listen to it on Friday, but this is me and Jim.
No, there are people. There are people in the chat. There are people watching.
Oh, goddamn, there are people who enjoying their Friday Madness with us. Shenanigans.
Well,
which is a great word.
What else are you going to do on a Friday?
Work.
I mean, there's that, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's only for the serious people.
Yeah. So
I'm a serious 10 times engineers, the serious devs. What's Elon Musk? What did he call it? Hardcore engineering. They're working on a Friday. Hardcore engineering.
as far as I can tell, the only hardcore engineering when it comes to Elon Musk are the people who can't quit because of visas.
There's that, and I look at the Tesla videos, and I'm like, I don't think this is hardcore as you think it is.
But anyway, so I'm Mike Elsmore, and this is
it's Jim Second. Hello, everybody.
Hey. So yes, usual shenanigans, and we actually have. Well, oh god, all right. There's
What are you stumbling over?
Because I'm rereading the list again, and I'm going like the top thing on our like talk topic points is a hot take.
And it is. It's from me, and I never do hot takes. I don't. I don't ever do. I never do. Hot takes are generally people that either want attention or are just annoying. Well, I don't like them. This one is like
Jim.
Come on.
You work in DevRel.
Yes.
You want attention.
No, attention comes to me. That's like what sociopaths are like. You know, when they lie to people, they're like, I don't understand it. The drama follows me. It just follows me.
Oh,
I think you're looking.
Drama?
I think you're looking. Am I the drama? I think that. I think you want the drama. But this is one that's going to annoy people. So I'm gonna. Do
you want to save that one or go with it?
No, I'm not going to go with it straight off the bat because now that we have a podcast that people actually listen to.
Yeah.
We've got to, then you've got to start thinking strategically of like, well, I'm not going to give you I'm not going to give you the best content immediately. I'm going to put it in the middle, and they can wait to see what this nonsense is. That's a fair tactic, isn't it?
I think we can all agree it is nonsense.
I mean, it is. Well, you don't know what it is, really. Well, no, you sort of know what it is because it's on the outline. So Mike sort of knows what it is.
I have a rough idea of what it is. Right.
Maybe we should just start with boring stuff. Also, can you say what you do? Because I haven't said what I do yet.
Oh, I work for the other Twilio.
Hello, my name's everybody. My name is Jim Second, and I'm a senior developer advocate at Vonage. Hit me up if you want any tips or advice or about telco SMS APIs and
I'm also now going to correct Jim with the introduction of who he works for based upon Ben Greenberg, which is the other Twilio.
Is that Ben's thing?
That was Ben's thing at DevRelcom.
Oh, okay. He said the other Twilio.
So you're the other Twilio.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah.
I'm the other Twilio.
Okay, yeah. So your hosts are Mike Elsmore, who works at the other Twilio, and I work at the other Twilio. I suspect at least 50% of this audience absolutely don't care.
That's but it's funny for us.
We find it funny, and this is mainly the reason why we do this podcast in the first place.
We have Chris, who is an amazing human who actually works at Twilio.
Oh, we've got someone from Twilio. Boo, boo, boo this man or woman.
Or us.
So that's lots of booing points for Chris, actually. Plenty of like 100% booing points. But he's only on the feed to check out the competition. Is thinking, I mean, I've not really got much to worry about here.
No, Chris does not have much to worry about. I'm an idiot, and so are you. In the average room we walk into, we are not the smartest people. Funniest, yes. Smartest, no.
Funniest,
funny.
Yeah. I always
be into it.
Mentioning Michael Jolly. What does Michael Jolly always go? Is it bald beard builder.
I tried saying that directly after he came into my stream when I was at least 6 beers deep. That did not go
it's a
down
bit
well.
Peter Piper pick. Peter
Pata,
Piper.
pata, pata, pata.
Oh, look at that! This is honestly, XK. This is. I mean, surely you've seen this before, right? This is what our personalities are like. I mean, maybe we appear half cut all the time. I mean, we're
That sounds legit.
we're not like a beer at lunch. That's not true.
No, that's just being extremely British.
Well, yeah. I mean, in Britain we do like a liquid lunch, don't we?
Oh, we had a sandwich as well.
We've eaten. We're sober, but also this is just what we're like. We're just sort of silly.
We've got idiot abroad and we've got idiots on a podcast.
Idiot. If it's an idiot abroad is great, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was. It's been a long time since I've seen that, but
I hate Ricky Gervais, but idiot abroad is.
Did you listen to the original? Did you listen to the original XFM slots that Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant did when it introduced Carl Pilkington?
No.
They are just. I think they must have thought, you know what, we've struck gold. We've just got this bloke from Manchester, and he's just this weird, moany northern man, and his brain is just wired differently. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'd highly recommend them. I don't know where you could find them now. Someone's probably got them on SoundCloud or something.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a YouTube thing somewhere.
Yes, I don't think no one in XFM like copyright division can be bothered to press charges.
Does XFM still exist?
It's called something else now. It's called Radio X. It still has Chris Moyles on it, and Chris Moyles is still not particularly funny, despite thinking he is.
No, he's just gone from being fat not funny to thin not funny.
I watched the Celebrity Get the Jungle thing, and because my wife watches it, and Chris Moyles, like, I said, "Who's that?" And my wife went, "That's Chris Moyles." What are you talking about? He lost something like 20 stone or something absolutely mad like that.
To be fair, I pretty much need to do that as well. But if I do that, I look like you.
I'm not going to pass judgment, and you don't want to. Well, no. Well, I've got a beer belly, and everything else is skinny.
Okay.
I look just out of proportion.
Mate,
so
you're a late 30s dad. Beer belly's expected.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, is my life even worth living if I'm not got like a beer belly and bags under my eyes? And also, I never sleep, but we all know about that anyway.
I do anyway.
You sleep because you don't have children. Don't never do that. That's just a point. I love my son very dearly. That's not.
You know, we're nearly 10 minutes in. We should pick a topic.
Probably. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to pick. Well, I'm going just because it's ridiculous. CES.
Right. I asked you about who CES were. Again.
Right. So CES.
So it's a conference.
It's not just a conference. It's a conference and a trade show all at once. It is huge.
This basically sounds like my worst nightmare. Is it somewhere terrible like Las Vegas?
It's Vegas, and it's yesterday and today. But there's some pre-event stuff like Nvidia have their own like CES thing in the run up and all and whatnot. I don't even know what CES stands for. If somebody in chat wants to correct what it is. But it's the About Us pages. CES showcases companies including manufacturers, developers, and suppliers of consumer technology, hardware, content, technology delivery systems, and more. Computer Electronics Showcase is CES according to X.
Was the keynote like
consumer?
Yes, we are getting chips. We can get chips now. Chips are okay. We can make Nvidia things.
Yeah, we got chips. Chips.
What was that? Chips.
I don't know. Anyway, so. Normally, it's where big, like, network vendors, Samsung, show off all their
generic tech. So it's like E3 generic tech thing.
But yeah, instead of being just gaming, it's all tech. So gaming people will be there, TV people will be there. Yeah. But so will the random people trying to go, you know what? We make tech too. And this one specifically is L'Oreal introduces a printer to put ink on your face, not paper, aka printing your eyebrows.
So when people say, like, if you put on your face this morning, you can actually say, I've not fired at the print. Actually, I've got a problem with the printer drivers. Actually, I need end this wrapper. It's not working. For any of the Linux nerds in the audience. Right. So you print on your face.
Yep.
No,
you take a smartphone photo of it, design your eyebrow, plug the printer on, and print your flipping eyebrows.
When you say design your eyebrow, so it doesn't chop anything, right?
Nope.
It just prints
literally prints it on. So we've all seen walking through a mall or a shopping center where they do the threading and all that jazz, and occasionally you see them going, drawing it on with a pencil. It's a bloody printer version of it.
Yes, but we are talking about technology, and I've seen videos of Teslas crashing almost every single week, right?
Yep.
So I'm thinking, what if you're like, I want my eyebrows to be. So I remember for girls, it was pencil thin in the 2000s, and now it's like big and bushy.
How do you feel about your Sharpie?
But it's still software doing it. So like, what happens when there's an exception at line 239, and it's like, here's Ed Helms from The Hangover. Oh no, I've got a tribal tattoo on my face. I don't trust it. I don't know. We're already like.
Hang on, my brain just had the best mental image. Do you remember the first Transformers movie? With Sheila Booth?
I don't remember. And is he the dickhead that put the paper bag over his head? Is that
That's Sheila
him?
Booth, yes.
Right. I watched, bearing in mind that I am a child of the 80s, so I'm a massive Transformers fan. I watched the first one and just went, I basically cried. I was like, what is this? This is nonsense. So I have seen it. I can't remember anything about it. I've wiped my brain.
You probably will remember this when they trigger it, which is where they drop the cube of life or whatever the fuck they call it in the movie. And it just triggers all appliances in the area to go fucking nuts and like robot attack things.
So this is what they tried to explain with the origin of the Autobots and the Decepticons, where the Autobots were boring crap and let's make the baddies really cool because
a vending machine that fires Reese's Pieces at
because
you.
The Decepticons were like, weren't they dropped in like a military base? And so they like, I'm one of the baddies, but I'm going to be like an American fighter jet. And the Autobots are like, I'm going to be a washing machine.
I'm going to be a 1960s bug.
A big lorry. I'm going to be a beetle.
But yeah, I just imagine like, could you imagine if for something like that where they go absolutely nuts and it just like starts attacking you and spraying ink at you? It's like,
like a sort of
visual effects people,
like a sort of Wallace and Gromit thing. Like, oh bloody hell, Gromit! Just wanted to put my eyebrows on. That'd be quite good.
To be fair, Jay Walter has bought a brilliant one, which is if it can do eyebrows, could it do a mustache?
Oh no, but then you're starting to get into really dodgy sort of paedophile territory, aren't you?
Oh no!
Like, what if it goes wrong and you get like a?
You get the one from 1930.
Is that the sort of the scrub one?
Oh, I was going to say Charlie Chaplin or the person we don't talk about on the internet.
Oh yeah. And there was someone. Was it Richard Herring that tried to bring it back because he was like that the man who shall not be named. It's not Voldemort. It's Hitler. Hitler like basically made this mustache untrendy. So I'm going to reclaim it. Did anyone really pay attention?
No. To be fair, I really, really want Trump to do it, but that's for other reasons.
I don't know anything about American politics, but the only thing I've seen is that he tried to be the speaker, and everyone said, "Get out."
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping that that's all done now.
I really want to go and have a look, like tomorrow on the news when it's all done. I want to have a review of CES and just see what other wacko shit's been involved.
Has anyone like commented on it? Did it have were people interested in it of spray on face?
No, somebody's obviously written a 300-word piece on it.
No, I'm not reading that.
Oh no, I scanned it just to double check I wasn't talking bullshit. But there's no they've obviously got comments turned off, so no.
Puts ink on your face, not on paper. And so I'm looking at the article that Mike's posted. It's
terrible.
Oh, tiny nozzles on the device producing a 1,200 DPI resolution. I'm not ready for us to have things like to have spray nozzles painted at our faces. It's just not going to. It's going to go wrong. But then if you scroll down, surely, okay, there's some AR glasses are the other things that have been launched, and Lenovo Smart Paper, which sounds sort of about as exciting as I don't know.
I'm going to wait until it's all over because that's when people do their roundups of it, and it's somewhere at the bottom of the roundup is, and just for fun, here's the terrible things that inventors have made.
Do you think a CMO of L'Oreal is going to do a statement and say, well, the thing is, every company is a tech company now, and we're a tech company. And you're like, okay. Like luxury watch manufacturers have said, we're not going to do a smartwatch because that's not what we're famous for. Because they know that otherwise, as soon as you start diluting it.
Says Mr. Tag Heuer over there, yes.
Who, incidentally, Tag Heuer messed up in the 90s because they tried to make fashion watches, and all of the collectors went, this is crap. We're not going to buy your watches anymore. There you go. Know your customer. It's a thing that credit reference agencies say, don't they?
Snoop on your customer.
KYC. Yeah, KYC. That's classic jargon and nightmare. Yeah, sorry. Have you implemented the KYC? I know what KY jelly is, but KYC. What's that?
Oh, it's nearly as good as my favorite one from when I was working at Logs.io, which is BCOS.
BCOS.
BCOS. It's a best chance of success.
That's such bollocks. That's like best in breed, isn't it?
So, like, oh, it's this product launch. Yes. Is it our BCOS?
I can't stand product buzzword bingo. It's so horrible.
We live in product buzzword bingo.
It's our job to cut through it so that so that we're not like marketers. I remember hearing best in breed for the first time. Do you know what? Until I went full stack development in about 2015 or something, I'd never heard of it. And it's I know that it's actually a sort of a late 90s phrase. It's just such nonsense. It's just sort of, my brother, my oldest brother, the one he's in real estate, he told me about one that's just absolutely agonizing. So when you keeping your cards close to your chest in real estate, and then finally you've got a killer move, and it's impressing some landlord or something like that, and it's reveal the kimono.
Monty Python
like a
stuff.
flasher. Okay, no, guys, right. I think it's time. We press the button. We're going to reveal the kimono. Oh no, just talk in English.
Everything's terrible. Everything is terrible. I'm trying to get a hold of my own chat because I'm trying to get to the link that Xy's posted. I can't. I think I have this feeling. I think Exegate is trying to predict the exact watch I'm wearing because he's put a link and it says Carrera on it, and I do have a Carrera on. So, oh god,
this is like,
why am I flashing at people? Because why not, Steve? The internet needs more.
I can't make it work because I'm basically tech illiterate. What's the link?
It's to a Carrera watch.
Okay.
I was thinking he was going to go, no, this.
Well, actually.
This is a smartwatch. It's registering your heartbeat. No, it's just a fancy.
It's a fancy watch.
I've forgotten my watch.
I like my fancy watch. I like it.
I'd be terrified of breaking them, which is why all of my watches are sub $250.
I mean, that's dollars.
I'm translating for the internet, which obviously runs in dollars.
Sorry, the world runs in Bidens.
The world is
dollars.
North American, remember?
Of course. Right, Birmingham, that's the capital of Alabama, isn't it? Right. I guess it's my turn to choose, and I think I've reversed the way that we also haven't. We still haven't done regular segments. We need to work on that.
We did try adding the predictable, and then we didn't work out how to follow it up afterwards, so it kind of just fell apart.
Well, I think it's because we didn't discuss it.
Well, I came up with the idea, and then we did nothing afterwards.
That's true. But then again, we did the predictable at the end of December, and then we're just waiting for the results to come in, right?
I can't even remember what we predicted, and
I can't. I said that it's what's AWS's nonsense, and we'll get onto them in a minute. What's their technology Vegas showcase reinvent? I said that they were going to introduce something that had a name that meant nothing. But I mean,
that wasn't a prediction. That's a standard. That happens on a yearly basis for AWS.
And there was lots of Mastodon versus Twitter, whether it was going to become the thing, and space Karen things. And
ironically, Mastodon has become a thing. The amount when you look at the trending graphs of like the number of instances joining the network, it's bloody potty.
I mean, it's certainly worked. I think one of the interesting things from the PHP perspective is that Ben Ramsey spun up the PHP community server, and all of the sort of big cheeses within the PHP world all went to it. So if I want to have something really focused, I can just go on Mastodon instead of getting white noise. And I quite like that. I'd love like that one and then a Brummie one, so that for my local community.
Yeah, but the difference is I also want my random noise every so often.
I do. Random noise is fun sometimes.
What do you do when you're in the toilet?
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, hold on. Do I have to answer that question, or should I just leave it?
It's equivalent of back when I was at university and not long afterwards, just having the copy of Top Gear magazine in there. Just a
Top Gear magazine.
Top Gear and Empire magazine. That's what we used to have in our pub.
FHM in the toilet. Ooh,
Yeah.
Heidi Klum, she's fit. Like a true sort of
Not gonna lie,
15-year-old
mate.
boy.
Whilst I'm trying to squeeze one out, I'm not looking at a pair of boobies because normally I'm going cross-eyed. That's why we used to have it. It's like, oh, going to be in it for a while.
Oh, I used to
Lamborghini.
all the really cool kids when I was at school all had their parents paid for it, but they'd obviously hidden what it was, and they had subscriptions to FHM magazine, and it's just the most, like, you read it and you're like, this is, but at the time, like, men, and it's going to be men in their mid-20s or late 20s were editing this, and like, this is for 16-year-old schoolboys. This is nonsense.
Yeah, it's a travesty.
Oh, that's the 90s. If anyone wants to reminisce about the 90s, then go for it.
If anyone wants to reminisce about the 90s, talk to Old Man River here.
Old Man River. Is that what?
Old Man River.
Was this a new nickname? I don't mind that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it means. So it might be more
I've come up with
insulting.
worse ones for you.
That's very much true. With one topic in, should I pick the second one?
All right, go for it.
I'm in terms of the off-topic stakes. I reckon we're doing all right here.
Yeah, well, the ratio of topic to off-topic, we're doing quite well on off.
It's gradually just got worse and worse over time, which is kind of the point. Let's get the serious, boring stuff out of the way.
Do you want to just bundle them all up together because we've got several?
I'm going to go for the boring one because when we started doing this, it was a genuine talking point about tech layoffs, and now it's not, because it's happening all the time. But Amazon this morning saying, and this isn't AWS, so it's technically not tech, or it probably includes people that are adjacent to tech, but 18,000 people are going to be laid off.
Yeah.
18,000 people.
Yep.
Which I think is it's still only about 5% of their workforce. That's nuts.
But that's specifically their tech workforce.
Oh, dear. What I find really interesting about this is tech does funny things. It's like politics. It does funny things to you sometimes where you're like, I didn't find that I was going to be at this point, but now I start agreeing with people that are horrible. I started agreeing with Dan Price. Do you remember him? The pay cut guy.
Yes.
He did a big no holes barred takedown of Amazon after they announced it. And I thought, fair play, Dan. I mean, you're an absolute nightmare, but this is all really interesting. There are things that we knew about, stuff pissing in bottles and Amazon literally taking drivers' tips away from them. And it goes on and on and on. And then you just mentioned that Jeff Bezos is one of those kind of pretend philanthropy billionaire, richest person on the planet, and his first priority is to leave the planet that he ruined. Lovely guy.
To be fair, if I could get off this planet, I would. I want to get off this country.
Do you want to go to Mars with Space Karen?
I'm not going to lie.
Slight pause.
My brain just went, you know what? I really don't want to ride one of any of their space cocks.
Space cocks, yeah.
How else do you describe? Right, okay, so Richard Branson, who's been doing it for years longer with Virgin Galactic, but he's weird and likes doing shit like that. Balloons and.
He's not done the balloons thing for ages, right?
But he did.
Well, I mean, he did.
Yeah.
He was the sort of OG. I'm going to be mad. I'm mad. I'm a businessman, but I'm just like you.
I dress like you, but I am business.
I'm business. What I actually did was I founded a progressive rock and psychedelic music label and hit gold with Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells, and then made myself a millionaire out of it and bought an island.
And then continued to do things that ended up doing quite well.
The airline was good. Trains.
Hang on, I'm not going to laugh. I still have a soft spot for the Pendolino.
I mean, good news. It's still the same Pendolinos,
just painted green.
Just like exactly Avanti West Coast or whatever train line it is. Like these
I'd love to say that they exist, but I haven't seen one of those trains in a few weeks.
Few weeks, blimey.
Bell strikes, my dude.
Of course. I was wondering where you're going with that. So for anyone that doesn't know, in the UK, we're sort of heading to general strike territory.
Actually, just to state it, in the UK, our entire infrastructure of the country is falling apart.
Oh yeah.
So much
the
so
NHS is broken.
Just to point it out there. Our government is going to make striking illegal for frontline workers. I didn't want to get political, but
excuse me. Hello, is that Mr. Bezos? We'd like a few tips, please. No, we're the UK government.
But yeah, so they're laying off 18,000 people in tech and talent. I've been corrected by Bleachin. But I can kind of understand why. I've seen the department where Alexa and all that crap stood. It registered a $3 billion loss. That's the GDP of most small countries.
That's the reason why Alexa is just moody with me the whole time. Like, Mike, honestly, the main joy that my son gets when he's copying me when I'm talking to Alexa, and he says his favorite thing to say is, "Alexa, play the Wheels on the Bus," right? And he goes, and my son goes, "Alexa, play Wheels on the Bus," and Alexa goes, "Okay," and then plays the Wheels on the Bus. But when he asks me to do it, she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't know that one." And you're like, "What are you doing? Why can you understand a 2.5-year-old?"
I have discovered the worst function of Alexa.
If it's going to be better than my one, your one's going to be more wacky.
Right, so I have an Alexa in every room in my flat, including the bathroom.
Why?
So I can have music all the way through my flat.
Alexa, please flush the bog.
But I've discovered this week the Alexa announce function, which means it says something on all the speakers at once. So I did from my bathroom say, "Alexa, announce, you sunk my battleship."
Oh man, technology's allowed us to become sort of 10 years old again, and it's great. My one was really boring. So do you know Alexa plays you can play a What's the Animal game? But so you can say like so my son plays it. So like, "Alexa, play a sheep noise," and then he joins in. He's like, "Alexa, play cow," and it does a moo. Anyway, I hadn't locked it down, so it turns out I don't know the UX of like voice stuff very well at the moment. I'm still kind of getting to it. What?
Irony.
Why?
Your employer.
Yes, but I specifically deal with APIs. Shh, don't tell my employer. And also, I didn't watch, like, I when I ran a user group, I had Stuart Langridge specifically do
a talk on
the
UX
of text. So, anyway, it turns out when you start using it, if you haven't got a locked kind of account, it just starts charging you. Like, I see that you are playing the cow game. Like, hang on a minute. Why have I suddenly been charged £2.50 for my son to play what noise does the cow make? They're very cheeky like that.
So you got caught with the AWS billing problem.
Yes, exactly.
But for your Alexa.
Exactly. Alexa. So now Alexa needs like a UX thing that does a breakdown of what's the useless thing with the hidden API that it does for AWS. What's the bill calculator thing?
Billing.
But there's a hidden API that actually says you could save loads of money by doing the following steps, but we're not going to tell you how to do them on the dashboard. Yeah. You've got to use the API. Oh, thanks.
Well, that API is there for their solutions engineers and stuff like that as an upsell set of methodologies. Well, you can pay us and we can tell you what to make cheaper.
I don't blame them for it. It's business at the end of the day.
Yeah. We all work in business. So.
Business.
I refuse to say business seriously anymore because you know what? I can't take it seriously.
So you could say business like what's his name? Snoop Dogg.
To be fair, at Christmas, you know how at Christmas you always have a bottle of wine or something for the table for Christmas dinner?
You worded that really weird. Do you mean I drink like red wine with my Christmas dinner?
So
yes, I do.
So I don't have wine with meals most of the time. So for me, it's the thing I get for Christmas, and it has been for the last few years. Like I'll always make sure I take a bottle to my mum's and stuff like that. So there is always a bottle of Christmas.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant like you drink whatever you were bought for Christmas. So there's the bottle of Baileys and the.
I always make sure there's a nice bottle of wine for Christmas.
Right.
This year's choice, a bottle with Snoop Dogg on the front of it.
It's the Crime 19 thing, isn't it?
And it's pretty good.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm glad that you got there first because I was about to say I've had a bottle and it's disgusting. So
no, the Snoop Dogg one is actually quite nice.
Is it different from the other gangsters?
I am.
I only found out that it was Snoop Dogg's winery like a while ago.
19 Crimes Cali.
Is it 19 Crimes?
And there's the rollback Snoop Dogg Cali Red, which is the one that I had.
I don't drink Californian wine anyway. So
I don't drink wine.
There you go. So for anyone sophisticated in the audience, if you don't drink wine, listen to Mike. If you do drink wine, I had 4 bottles of Chateauneuf de Pape, which were absolutely excellent. I might get some Santa Emilion for after that.
I'm going to stick to beer recommendations for people. I know what I'm doing there.
I mean, I don't know what I'm doing with beer either most of the time. How did we get to Snoop Dogg's winery from Amazon laying off 18,000 people?
Off topic.
That's a good
segue.
That is it? What a bad segue, in fact, because it was logical, but it's not logical. Hang on a minute, what was I saying? I'm starting to get my brain in a twist here.
Do I need to cut you off?
Pick something.
All right. Shall we? Oh, do I start with that? Do I open that one? I'm scared to open that one. Let's do the what. The what.
The what?
The what. Jim, just before the podcast, was double checking.
Okay, sorry. Now I know what you mean.
Can I throw anything else onto this list to throw us a spanner in the works? And literally, he's dropped the link into our idea list, and it literally just says. So most of them have like what they are. So CES provides AWS nuclear layoffs, and this one just says what? WAT.
Have you clicked the link yet?
I have.
Right. The headline for this from BBC News. The reason why I thought this is hilarious is not actually the reason why. I then started reading the article. In case anyone doesn't know, if you're listening or watching, we actually have started being less prepared on purpose so that we don't actually know what we're about to look at, so we can look through it. Porn website age checks introduced in Louisiana. So I thought they're going to do that thing with what David Cameron's government tried to do about 10 years ago, where they said, well, porn is bad, so we are going to stop the porn. And you're like, David, I don't think you understand how the internet works. They still try to do it. I thought it was that, but it's not. What it actually is they are I now understand better after going to Texas how laws kind of work in the US, because I had no idea. So the Louisiana state government have created this, and in order to, it's still people that don't understand how the internet works. You have to prove that you're 18 or over to watch the porn, but to do that, you have to send. What is it again? You have to. You have to use a smartphone app called LA Wallet. Why is it called LA Wallet?
Louisiana.
That makes sense, rather than LA, the home of pornography. To show that you're over 18, so you have to take a photo of your driving license or an official state identity to then confirm. How do they enact this, though? This is just people pretending they can police the internet.
Well, we've had the first bit of random bot things that works. Get push, get paid. Louisiana demands ID for porn sites and unrelated news. VPN shares rise 500,000.
Is that thing? So that bot there is listening to what I'm talking about.
No, I dropped the link.
Okay. That would have been more interesting if a bot had actually listened and go, I think you're talking about porn, I'm going to spam you.
That would be far more
interesting. So now, if you're going to use Pornhub, it now directs you, presumably, if you are in Louisiana. So, I mean, again, a VPN is just going to take all of this out of the equation. So it looks if you're in Louisiana and says, okay, before I can fulfill this request, I'm going to have to check your smart app thing. This is just such crap, isn't it?
It's like, we are going to go and do a passport review of your browser history. It's like,
Do you know you can change this thing? The message also says that sites guarantee, and also that means you've got to get, when it says to look at the porn, we're going to enact this thing, right? So you're going to get, congratulations, you've got Pornhub to sign on about it. Are you aware how much porn there is on the internet? Are you going to get all of them to sign up to your thing? What a wait is like. I would say it's probably, if it's like US government funding, I'm gonna say it's gonna be a waste of money, right?
Isn't that how most government things work?
That's true.
Yeah.
It is true. It's a lot of wasted money.
Like, I'm not against the idea of like some safety features built into the interwebs for children, but I'm also the way these people go about it is ridiculous.
Yeah, education for the parents and things like this is probably what education.
To be fair, anybody over the age of 18 at this point is already well acquainted with the internet and its porn.
I think they know how to get around the rules. If you go, no, but it's the equivalent of saying no, you can't go out, and then your parents leaving the window unlocked, isn't it? It's like, well, I mean, did you think this was going to work? Yes, but I'll tell you off when you get back. It seems a bit after the fact.
I've always heard that asking forgiveness is better than permission.
I've also kind of read between the lines, and I think that the senator, or I don't know, yes, the state's legislator, Laurie Shiegel. Sorry, Lauren, probably got your name wrong.
Definitely got it wrong.
Has specifically remarked that it was after Billie Eilish started talking about her past. Now, to me, I never say this I never say this phrase with any kind of venom, but that actually is virtue signaling, isn't it? In terms of getting political points, you're not actually interested.
No.
In the protection bit, what you're trying to say is, I know about Billie Eilish's history, so therefore I'm going to do this thing that's not going to help anybody.
You know what's going to end up happening? Predictable moment.
Predictable.
She is
shake the predictable.
That woman is going to run for some form of state government.
Oh yeah, position. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a play for later. This is
It's only just clicked when I started thinking, and there was a big picture of Billie Eilish on the BBC article, and I thought, okay, what you're doing is you're protecting the children, and therefore you're very electable. Instead of the reality, which is you're introducing nothing that is useful for anybody.
You're going to introduce legislation which does nothing, does not get implemented, and does not get enforced.
Yeah, there's a lot of good luck with that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Really. Did you pick that?
Yes, because I just saw what and wanted to know what was.
It was exactly the same thing as the Cameron thing of porn is bad, therefore we're going to stop you watching it, and you just think that's not going to work, is it? But it's so all about kind of electability and politics. The same with Cameron as well. Why don't you talk to some people that are involved in tech, and then this might. It's a bit. Do you remember when? So this morning, yesterday, I love this because Nadine Dorries, who's a British politician, is possibly from her actions is possibly one of the stupidest MPs I think I've ever seen ever. Like someone that really has just absolutely failed upwards. She was the one that tried to sell off Channel 4 because she said that it was costing the taxpayer money because it was state owned, and she didn't understand that it was a private channel that made money from advertising, but was state-owned, and she didn't understand the difference between the two things. Anyway,
you mean Channel 4's the BBC?
Exactly. Like, Channel 4, it's all for young people. Why don't we privatize it and make it competitive like Netflix? You're like, do you know Channel 4 doesn't just pay for itself, it makes a surplus, which it then spends, according to the government's initiative, on stuff that will benefit culture. That's why it exists.
Yeah,
she didn't understand that at all.
It's the reason why most countries have their the film boards, like the Australian Film Board and all that stuff, which fund smaller projects which normally wouldn't get funding from Hollywood or anything else.
Yeah, like France, the Canal Plus is massive, isn't it?
Channel 4 for film is ours.
Yeah,
and where does the money come for that? Oh, guess what? Everybody watching reruns of The Misfits. Or Big Bang Theory.
What's the other one? That's
Skins?
What was the no? It's like The Misfits. The four juvenile school kids.
In-betweeners.
That was it.
In-betweeners. The people not much younger than me, people in their late 20s who made their entire personality in-betweener quotes.
Bus wankers. Iconic scenes. It's my turn next, so shall I do my thing that's going to make me really unpopular?
Yep.
Did you? Is it my go? Yeah, because you picked the you picked that thing. I hope.
You're just rereading your own quote.
No, I'm looking at Get Push, Get Paid, which I thought you said was a bot.
It is.
Right.
Well,
but why is that funny then? There's a quote in the chat of Louisiana demands ID for porn sites in unrelated views. VPN shares rise 500%. A bot can't do that.
Oh,
that's a person.
I've accidentally banned them.
Oh, okay.
I need to undo that.
That's a person. Bot on it. Sorry, mate.
Undoing.
Yeah. Okay. So unfortunately, I thought that. So people are watching this.
Yes.
So I've got to do a hot take with people watching.
Yes.
Okay. So, one of the things I make no apology for this, and I'm very honest about it. That I've grown up. I mean, even Mike, everybody calls me Mr. Silver Spoon sometimes. But
I said that literally walking into this room.
Exactly. You said walking to this studio, so there you go. You say all the time, Mr. Silver Spoon. I grew up in a joke middle class background with this sort of big house in Birmingham, and a Dickensian Christmas with the big tree and everything. I'm not going to pretend to be working class or whatever, because I'm not. The difference is when I got to uni, I chose to not mix with any of my peers I went to school with because I couldn't stand it, which is why I now consider myself very much down to earth. My dad was a barrister. All right, faces. My dad was a barrister so effectively we're saying he was a barrister in the Edgbaston sect of Birmingham, which is, a smart area. We used to get Christmas cards, and there were like family Christmas cards of people that he'd met he originally started out in Scunthorpe, and then he was in London.
Scunthorpe, that land.
Scunny. He was an assistant in a steelworks in Scunthorpe. Times were different back then. But then when he joined the bar and passed in London, so there were acquaintances from London and then from Birmingham, and you get all these sort of ridiculously middle class Christmas cards that would flood in, and they'd go on this banister, right? And honestly, 1 out of every 2 of the Christmas cards had a family newsletter in it. And it was like an actual, sometimes it was several sheets of A4.
Jesus.
And it was like, little Johnny is now taking Latin, and Olivia has just got a first from Oxford. And like, no one fucking cares.
So essentially, it was middle class bragging rights.
Yeah.
But even better, not their own bragging rights, the bragging rights of their children,
of their children,
on their extended family, because
unless they got a book publishing contract of like, well, I was published this year in the medical journals or the law journals or something like that.
Just talk to Pat Publishing; you can all get published that way.
So it's not really a complete episode of this podcast without Mike slating one of his ex-employees.
Employees, slate one.
He's only one.
Yeah.
You like all the rest of them. You just mentioned one. I've got beef with my ex-employers, but I don't talk about them.
Not on camera.
No, not on camera. That's true. I'm going to make everyone paranoid. I say everyone paranoid. I mean, like the only other people are going to be watching this is Dan, and it's not Jump 24 because they're good. So,
and we recently had Chris Miller on the podcast. Well, I did because family.
Because I'm sorry, I have a family. Anyway, my point with the Christmas card thing is I've started seeing it happening in tech, and I've started seeing it happening specifically in tech within developer relations, and I hate it. People that are quite well known and are in some cases either peers or ex-colleagues, or like there are people that are connected with me a lot, are writing end of 2022 reviews like newsletters, and it's like a summary of the year. And my hot take is nobody fucking cares. No one cares, do they? No one's reading it. No one's going, oh, well, congratulations. And this is the thing that I had with imposter syndrome this year. And then also little Johnny went to university and I learned some lessons. And that's how I'm going to write some new content this year. No one cares. Stop writing it. It's so self-indulgent. I hate it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my hot take. And it's the only time I think I've ever had a hot take. And it's not a hot take because I've thought about it. That's what makes it different.
Okay.
Has anybody complained in chat about it already?
No.
Oh, okay. I've just silenced everyone, or everyone's just left.
No. I'm just nobody's taking a hot take.
Did you do one of these? I haven't even checked. Do you do one of these?
Mate, I'm terrible at blogging unless I'm being.
Okay, then.
I have a blog post that's half done and has been half done for 6 weeks, which is about learning in the open, and that's actually something I care about.
2 months for my blog post hanging around that I haven't finished yet.
I'm not gonna lie. So I wrote the one for work for when we got back from Devrel Prague in a week.
That's
fine.
That's a roundup of an event, and that is useful.
Yes,
because I've done a few of those.
Well, no, that's fine. But no, like I can write a blog post in a relative amount of time, and it's something I care about, like learning in the open, like sharing and teaching and whatnot. Flipping roundup of my year. I'm sorry. My years in reality is quite boring.
No one cares. That's what I'm saying. No one cares. I'm going to find the one. I'm definitely not going to name names, but I'm going to find the. I'm going to find the one that. It was about the 4th or 5th one I'd seen, and it suddenly triggered me, and I thought, this is just.
Mate, it doesn't take a lot to trigger you.
That's kind of true. Well, it takes a lot to trigger me if it's not like Birmingham related.
I was about to say, I can say one word and it's Birmingham. And it's anyone besmirching that word.
I like where I live. Okay.
You don't live in Birmingham.
I'm going to put this away from the camera. It's that one.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one. I've also mentioned one in Discord for you.
Oh, no. But the kind of where's it? There's pictures with the reason why underlying I can't stand it is there's pictures with family and with kids, and this year we went to Disneyland or whatever, we went to Paris or whatever, and here's my year in reflection. You're supposed to be doing developer outreach and content. No one cares. I know that you want people to care. So the reason why it drives me mad is it drives that's I'm going to say myth, but it's not a myth actually, that the bits that I don't like about developer relations, which we're all very, very egocentric and can't see outside our own lives. That's why I hate it, which is getting very serious and philosophical of me. But
I'm just getting trolled in the chat as normal.
Of course, Mike sent me something via Discord, which I get. Mike sent me a message on Discord, like a DM to me, and I'm like, oh no. I can't say what that message is.
You can't?
Oh dear. I'm gonna okay, all right, okay. You can all jim.second@vonage.com. Send your hate mail.
I should probably set one for Tech Off Topic.
To
send abuse and topics too.
Tech Off Topic complaints. Okay, now after Mike's given me that factoid of information which will remain secret, I now feel I was gonna say I feel guilty or I feel bad, but then I was doing the hot topic anyway. So
hot take.
A hot take. It was not a hot take because
It's not even a hot topic, really.
That was definitely not a hot take, and also it's restricted to our sort of niche of.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've also seen them for other people. Like, oh, now what we've learned in JavaScript this year, and I'm like, no. What you've done is you've made a roundup post about framework and framework arguments, which is actually meaningless because what you were talking about 12 months ago doesn't count now. The framework
such as the JS
world.
Such as the JS.
So is
world.
PHP these days as well.
I mean, there's loads of that.
Laravel now is not the same as Laravel 12 months ago.
Oh no, I mean they it evolves very, very quickly.
Their dev cycle, release cycle's what, 6 months now?
It's now no. Oh, I'm going to pimp myself because I'm proud of something that I've done for once because I'm usually completely useless.
No comment.
I think I'm about to get a pull request merged to one of the Laravel core libraries.
Oh. You know what? I'm glad you found a typo.
So what was it? So the thing about newsletter roundups that you are describing reminds it's people like Paul Graham and people like that, and you're like, no, I know you want like, can we make Christmas or the end of the year a time to celebrate with family instead of a roundup of all of your bollocks during the year?
Mate, we did a podcast which was roasting Christmas tech once.
That was true, but that's it's all right. We mainly do this podcast for ourselves, though.
That's true.
And then if anyone chooses to listen, then
it's their own fault.
They're idiots. But we do that for Paul Graham is an influencer, so you know.
Oh, I was wrong. I thought it was monthly. It turns out Laravel. Sorry, I thought it was every 6 months.
Oh yes, sorry. I should know this anyway. They changed the release cycle now and they've dropped LTS, so I think it's every year. Laravel 11 comes out in.
Okay, so it's been like that for 2 years. I just remember it being like every 6 months there would be not a major version change, but there would be a significant feature set change every 6 months.
It's kind of the amount of things that they sort of change is. They to be fair, they're pretty good with backwards compatible changes. That they don't tend to be a lot. But the one that's coming up is support for PHP 8.2, and PHP 8.2 has a very funky new feature where deprecation notices are thrown as exceptions.
I'm going to be doing the first thing that we've ever done in our podcast. You're going to be hosting for about 2 minutes on your own.
Why?
Because I need to wee.
Okay.
I forgot to go right before.
Okay. Hold on. That's okay, right? He's like, do you know what, everyone? Oh, I thought I'd get him with that. The door is actually self-locking, and I locked myself out earlier, which was pretty embarrassing. Also, for everyone else listening, I'd like to point out that I needed to go to the toilet really badly before Christmas, and Mike didn't let me because he said there were like 15 minutes to go. So this is I'm going to blame everything on him. Hopefully, I'm just waiting for like the comments on like StreamYard to flood in. That's the release cycle. Oh yeah, we don't know. I'm just looking at the comments. We don't really know how to podcast properly. Oh yeah, well yeah. Thanks for that. And I don't. We have a thing at Vonage during our team meetings where if my director doesn't press record, someone reminds him, then we get these applause points, which is this system where you can reclaim them for prizes, and we never tell him to actually record. I feel that the Kraken thing for Mike is exactly the same thing. I never remind him about it. I don't remind him because then that would enable one of you to actually release the Kraken on him. But sadly, we can't release the Kraken on him.
That's nearly as good as when we had Luke.
What do you mean a random Luke?
Do you not remember the episode with Alistair Hay where Luke and Nate just popped through the door whilst we were recording?
Oh yeah, that was quite funny.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the audience wants to release the Kraken on you, but unfortunately, you've turned it off. So
well, we're using, ladies and gentlemen, to make my life easier for recording this, we use a piece of software called StreamYard.
Hold on a minute. That stupid hat that you wore, someone's redeemed it, and you're not wearing it.
Well, I didn't bring it with me.
Is that good enough? I don't think that's good enough. No, that means you have to wear two of them.
Don't get the elf ears back out.
Oh, I don't know about the elf ears.
Oh, during Christmas season, I had elf ears and a Santa hat. One step away from buying one of the black and white bar humbug.
Yeah, it's become less about a tech podcast and more about sort of slapstick humor, isn't it? Really.
Do you say that like you're complaining?
No, I'd rather that than talk about tech. I have to deal with that at work from 9 to 5. So.
No, to be fair, this is essentially the conversation me and you would have in the pub.
It is. That's exactly what this is. This is the pub chat. I've done my bit about did I pick the porn thing or did I put no I picked the hot take. So
You
now
hit the hot take.
So now it's your go. If anyone wants to actually, no one has commented on that hot take as far as I can see. No one.
You're safe.
Well, I say I'm safe.
Yeah, you're safe except for what I told you.
I'm safe until later. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Until like the most influential people I know will start like saying, "Hey, so."
Oh yeah, and I'm going to be making up for the hat by. I'll promise this. I'll be doing an hour stream later because I've actually got to finish my beer bot, which I'm rewriting in Next.js, just because I know how to do that.
Your beer bot.
Beer bot.
What's the beer bot?
So you'll notice how Xe has done exclamation beer, a chat command.
I did see that.
That is connected to my It used to be connected to my Untapped account, and would tell you the beer I was just drinking.
Oh, I kind of love it.
But the problem is I broke it, like significantly broke it when I was trying to make it into a proper service so other people could use it on their channels. And I decided I worked out a way of hacking around it and fixing that and getting it to work. So I'm going to try and get all of that done in about 3 hours.
The beer bot. So anybody can put a beer
can connect their chat their Twitch account to it, can put their Untapped ID in. And in the chat, it will tell them what the last beer they had was.
Yulia, I think your mic has got too much free time.
Sorry, should not laugh at this. I'm going to make a cough now.
I tried to kind of promise Mike that I wouldn't make him cough because he was cough. If anyone doesn't know what I just said, I was just informing Mike boss that maybe building a beer bot means that he's got too much time on his hands. Do you want to pick one?
I was going to go with.
I think there's only one left, isn't there?
No, there's a couple. So we have Salesforce, OSS, the tech salaries conversation, which I think we should have after the Salesforce bit.
Okay.
And Mastodon. And I was going to raise the Mastodon one. Just because I want to get it out of the way real quick.
Go on.
Because I think it's important.
Hit me with your rhythms. Mike's got a serious face on.
I think it's important because of the right. So I did the predictable and predicted that Mastodon would
D20.
Okay, because that hand motion without any context is a little sus, mate.
We're all about it's two juvenile men. Go on.
Anyway, Mastodon's server growth has been huge in the last few months. Either people creating individual instances so they can control their data or joining and having to force other instances to grow real quickly. Like the Hacky one went nuts and became huge. And Mastodon is becoming huge for nerds that don't want to be on Twitter. And some people love the functionality. Some people hate the functionality. Some people like me like having it, but also having Twitter for shit posting as well.
That would sum me up. I enjoy being on the instance that I'm on a Mastodon, and I like the nonsense that Twitter provides. Mostly, 25% of it is people moaning about Twitter, but still, the shit posting potential is great.
Yeah, but Mastodon has a huge problem in the fact that running it is actually quite expensive. I put a post up on Mastodon and Twitter a couple of weeks ago about a guy ran an instance for himself, and it was costing about $30. Just because of the amount of things that need to plug together and the gossip protocols and stuff. For just a server for one user.
But what's the $30 per? What's the timeline?
Per instance. But that was for a month.
A month.
Yeah, but there was also some experimentation fails in there, which was slightly higher. He was expecting it to be more like $15 odd.
Okay, that's okay. That's not a scalable.
No. But the creator of Mastodon has actively refused funding for the OSS company, the 501c company behind Mastodon. And I think that's quite important because this is the company itself, instead of just going for cash grab. Because how many investors could they leech money out of and then just bail and fuck off and live on a beach?
I'm down for that. Yeah, your thing is becoming popular. Do you want to make yourself a millionaire very, very quickly? No, we have principles.
I like
that.
Part of me is going man, if I was in this situation, part of me thinks I'd probably take the cash. Not gonna lie.
I mean, if I was in that situation, I must admit, I've got a family. I've got people to feed. So yeah, I probably would kind of take the cash.
I love the fact that he has stood his ground. He's, I think it's like 5 different investment groups. Minimum was like multi-$100,000 seed round, and he went, "No, I love that."
But it's not a but. It's not a but at all. It's actually the opposite. Well, actually,
Adenoid.
The Jag. Go and get the Jag. So what I really like about that is the ethos of saying the moral standpoint of saying no also increases the entire point of it. Of you want to make it better, it's open source software. Thus, your community booms and people start PR into it. Good. That's a good open source. That's good open source citizenry.
There's not a huge talking point on that, but I think it's an important one to raise.
I like it. It's good in a very sort of bleak time when it comes to technology. It's good to see some people doing
in a world filled with layoffs and technology pricing and recessions in every major global economy
and spray on makeup
and terrible technology
3D
choices.
3D spray on makeup.
Which somebody actually having a backbone and going,
nope.
I'm good with that.
Didn't happen. Oh, the didn't happen of the year awards. They've started announcing them.
Oh.
So remember, do you know I read out the one about almonds, about injecting almond syrup? This is a good one. So I've got to read that. Read this one. It is good. I do love it. Sorry, I'll just compose myself. Something has just happened on Twitter, and it's hilarious. But I can't tell you what it is because it's between me and Mike.
Feel free to share with me so I have a clue what the bollocks just happened.
You remember my tweet this morning?
Yeah.
Someone's chimed in with a suggestion.
Good suggestion?
No, not a good suggestion. In fact, the existing solution, which is why the tweet was put out in the first place.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Right, here we go. This is the entry. If no one knows what this is the Didn't Happen of the Year awards. And if anyone has seen the posts before this, if anyone's seen me read these out before, it's generally either Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or some sort of social media where people think they can post things and people will believe it. And it gets to levels that are so outrageous that you just think, what were you thinking? Did you think that people were ever going to believe this? Here we go then. This one is called Asda. And it's like the Dave Gorman thing where it's like a found poem where I take a pause. On my days, no joke, I took the missus to Asda in Nuneaton earlier, and she's still sad about the Queen dying, in brackets, RIP, and had a T-shirt with the Queen's face on it. Stood in the queue to pay, and the worker stood up and saluted her and started singing God Save the King. Next thing you know, and I mean everyone in Asda, started joining in, and the whole store is belting out the national anthem. Everyone around me started clapping. It's always clapping, isn't it? They love clapping. Everyone around me started clapping, except this one lad on crutches, but he was stamping his crutch. As you can tell, the lad servicing us had a pure tear in his eye. I fucking love this country, man. Mike, do you think that happened?
Oh, hell no.
Whole of Asda, everyone stopping and singing God Save the King and saluting, and the lad stamping his crutch.
No, I can believe the lad stamping his crutch, but it's probably over the price of a pack of Walker's crisps.
Something. I saw a fight before Christmas over turkeys. So no, sorry, not the turkeys are expensive, over the reduced aisle, which is really sort of like, it's classic cost of living crisis, isn't it? I'm not making light of that. That's genuinely like, we're in a bit of a
Yep.
Do you
I'm enjoying this weird
do
channel.
you feel confident because this is going to annoy listeners that we're doing something in the background? How confident do you feel about vaguely mentioning what it is or mentioning what it is?
Actually, I'll be balls out about it.
Go on. Go on. I thought you might break.
So, ladies and gentlemen, me and Jim, as well as working for the other Twilios, happen to both be members of a meetup called Fusion, where we help to run it and organize it and do odds and sods jobs for it. We also are part of a larger group called Tech Mids, trying to help grow the tech scene in Birmingham for the technologists here. Now, if your meetup is bigger than, say, 60 to 70 people, there's pretty much only one central location for it.
I'd also say at this point that any meetup, if you do a local meetup that's up to about sort of 70 people, you're covered by a lot of companies that will genuinely put out spaces, and they'll say, "Yeah, you can do it." And ours, there's hospitality wise for like, standard drinks and pizza. I know it's a kind of it's a stereotype, but people will cover you. But when it gets bigger,
there's not much choice. There's plenty of spaces in the satellite area around the city centre. But
so the makeup of the city is that if you want a larger venue, there are ones available, but they're not in the city. They're not in the city centre, and we need to get developers to come to this event.
Yeah,
and
also the ones there are actually that's a lie. There are lots and lots of venues. There's the library, the ICC, Symphony Hall, but I don't know about if anybody has thought about the funding for meetups. There's not a lot of it. So $7,000 for an evening is not really an option to do something.
Yeah, £7,000 for your evening with some custom food and a bar open for a bit for your audience. No.
So there's pretty much only one choice, which is the studio. Now the studio does fit the bill for the requirements. Audio visual equipment's good. The space is quite big, and the bar is actually available and quite good. The problem is, the directors of the company are a bit of a shitheads and keep getting in the way of us trying to run food because they won't even run their own kitchen that late 90% of the time. And then when we try and do our own food and any other event that's had their food there, they are just a pain in the dick.
They are. It's been running at this venue for a long time, and this venue is in the centre of Birmingham. It's the only sort of conference venue of its size, and it knows it is. And as time has gone on, they have
got more and more awkward to work with.
Weird and complicated about, you need to sign this off in a month in advance for our directors to approve it. Like, as I said, this is what I said to Dan at Jump 24 earlier is, look, do you want 120 people drinking in your venue or do you not want them? What would you like? Yes or no? And the answer, for some reason, seems to be no.
Their answer seems to be maybe. We'll tell you 5 minutes beforehand.
Yeah. Oh yes, and there's last minute changes.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a back channel conversation happening on Twitter, which Jim triggered and I've weighed in on because. And yes, so that is what's happening in the background. Anyway, so we've done Mastodon, we've done the good one. I think we should do the Salesforce thing and bundle in that Mastodon comment from Chaos Monster.
It's all a bit it's one big sort of bundle in, and we've got 20 minutes odd at the moment. We don't really have a set time, do we? But no. I did really enjoy the comment that talking about the stamping the crutch that apparently in the Asda in Stafford that happens all the time. Actually, you're from like there, aren't you?
I'm actually from Stafford. I can neither confirm nor deny what the Welshman says.
Is he Welsh?
He's Welsh.
Is Stafford one of those places where you can shoot him with an arrow on a Friday or something like that?
No,
that's just Chester.
That's just York.
Is that York? I thought Chester. I lived in Chester, and that was the same.
I thought it was inside the walls of York. You could do it or something.
One of the things that is concrete is true, which is the town hall, the city hall in Chester, has got a big clock tower. There's 4 faces. And there's faces on 3 sides, and the one that faces Wales doesn't have the time on it. It's so sort of like so.
How do we have 17th century passive aggressiveness?
How can we exactly? The year is 1700. How can we troll the Welsh about a war that happened 400 years ago? We've still got it because the thing is, my boy, we're English.
There are only 2 countries on this world that I know that hold a grudge as well as the English. Well, no, one other. It's the French. It's
I have heritage in both, and I can maintain that both of us are pretty terrible.
Also, on that note, I'm starting to think the English are starting to learn from the French about striking.
Yes, they know how to kick up a fuss. So,
have you seen the video of the Olympic boxer during the strikes actually just having one at the police?
No, I haven't actually.
So protests in France around, I think it was public access protests. So strikes evolved into protests, and he literally was like pugilist bop, forcing the police line back.
How do you say in English? A little bit of Queensbury rules. Stick them up. I will bop you on your nose.
Outrageous French accents. How can we live without?
My name is Seconde. I'm allowed to say that, okay?
I thought it just meant you were the second.
No, but I am related to the French royal family. But more on that later.
Really? Do you want me to add even more to your silver spoonness?
You must have heard this story.
No.
You've not heard this story.
No.
Oh, that's one for another day.
Well, say that for the pub.
How have we not exactly in the pub? How have I not told you about that?
Well, you brag about everything else. So.
I'm one of the ones that didn't get a head chopped off.
Oh, so you're one of the dumb ones?
Oh, you're saying I'm dumb for not having my head chopped off?
That's a good point.
Do you mean one of the clever ones that escaped and pretended about a week after the French Revolution to be a dancing master that coincidentally, with no previous history in England, landed on the shores of Brighton? But my actual surname is Jacques du Condé, Dukes of Condé. If anyone's in the chat, you can look it up. You can call me pretentious. That's the one. A pretentious dickhead.
I'll call you that anyway.
Right, what's the next one? I mean, that's me. Most.
Do we want to cover the
Salesforce thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I put in the first Salesforce one, which was, it's getting a bit spicy at Salesforce. Who would have thought, if you're from a classic old world big vendor like Salesforce, insert other name, Oracle, etc., that buying a hipster tech company that had scaled massively like Slack might have cultural problems?
Cough, cough, Heroku. Cough, cough.
Is there anyone left at Heroku? Did they just sack everyone? Heroku doesn't work most of the time now, and now they've taken out the free tier, which is what everyone signed up for. Cough, cough, Heroku. So there's not much context on this other than I saw a tech journo posted a bit of a clash of clans. I don't know anything about Clash of Clans. I just see that it's the thing that's advertised. It looks terrible. It's like a freemium game or something. So yeah, the Salesforce executive leadership team seem to be falling out with Slack very quickly, and they're saying it's like a cultural problem, like two people doing very different things. I mean, is that really surprising? Probably not.
Oh, well, it's probably surprising. Just like the government, it's probably surprising that people in the know knew this was going to happen. Yeah,
like strange. What did Oracle buy? Oracle bought something batshit mad, didn't they? What was it? Was it TikTok?
No,
something like that.
Yeah,
where you're like, how's this going to work? It's a bit like that. This is from this one is from a leaked Slack all hands meeting. And the exact phrase is that there is a strong culture clash. Can you imagine trying to merge your processes of somewhere like Slack, which is a San Francisco-based
Why wouldn't you just do that? Microsoft does, and like it buys it and it just leaves it alone.
Do the AWS Federation, right? You just like, we have bought you now. You report to us. Do your thing well, for that is why we have bought you. Off you go.
Yeah. Here's some money so you don't go broke.
Make us money.
Yeah.
All we are interested in is money goes in, money comes out. Bed goes up, bed goes down. Bed goes up, bed goes down. Sorry, Simpsons episode from a long time ago. So
it's just a little airy. It's still good. It's still good.
Oh wow! Some real meme territory here. well, it's not mean to old gags. So, yeah, is there much to? I did a link to Fortune magazine, and I didn't get this through a cached version. So
Oh no, I'm getting the subscriptions that pay dividends problem, so I can't read the rest of the article.
no, I've got that as well. But you could probably bypass it with caching. In fact, can you still do that? I don't know if you can still do that.
No idea.
You used to be able to do it.
Somebody who's got smarter probably can't. But anyway, I think that leads into the final spicy point before we pick something funny to end on, as always, which is a comment from a friend of mine who's somebody who's also spoke at Hackfronts, Martin, Chaos Monster on Twitter and Mastodon.
Which Hackfronts? Was that one that I went to?
No, because you only went to the last one, you pleb.
Well, I don't know. So what I'm asking
2017, not 2018.
Okay. Oh, that's the one I missed. Yeah.
You mean like the other 7 you missed?
Yeah, the one I missed since moving to the same place as where you live.
Yeah. So he added a spicy comment. It was actually before Christmas, but I didn't cover it that because we didn't do layoffs for that one, ironically. Something more serious, like the big layoff waves we currently see in tech, a correlation as on overvalued or overrated salaries, which is one of the things I'm thinking Salesforce is having problems with, because scale-up salaries are pretty fucking...
For anyone listening on...
I am rubbing my 2 fingers together like it's a money.
Thank you.
And so it's like, they're a little pricey. It's like when you're the first 20 people into a startup, it's always, your salary makes my eyes bleed. Your total comp is terrifying. I am starting to wonder if all these layoffs and all these big tech, oh shit, is then suddenly going, hang on, it's not flipping worth it.
We're all paying. Now you're paying those salaries, but now you're paying them times 2,000.
Yeah. How did somebody go hang on, how about we just have a decent value to the chance of company survival, paying a decent salary, and then work it out from there. I'm
out of interest.
Hellraiser says the Salesforce pay itself is shit.
Oh, okay.
Well, to be fair, they're a big corporate. My first ever DevRel job was less than 35 grand.
Well, it's just standard kind of standard kind of engineering job kind of back in the, because I remember by the time I got to my second one, I think it was about 30. And then when I started getting more experience, about 35.
That was 7 years into my career. Jim's face is you got schooled, bud.
Well, you do know, at the risk of sounding like Dan Price, the pay cut guy, you do know I took a big pay cut to go into full stack, right? I was going massive because I'd gone as far as I could.
You'd become a weird edge case where
I'd become this weird business intelligence SQL/VBA developer that was in this privatized government agency that would always exist. And if anyone doesn't know what that privatized government agency is, it's the Register of County Court Judgments, private company that holds the judgment data that sells it to Equifax and Experian. There's only one reason for it to exist, so therefore it can't go bust, and it's limited by guarantee. It's privatized politics, a non-government agency type thing that has to exist. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. In fact, they were quite good at protecting what it was we were doing. But in order to be a full stack dev and to actually chase my dream, I took a pay cut. Because I had to.
Why do you sound like Trump doing that?
No, it's Dan Price. I don't even know what he sounds like. He's from Seattle or something. So
he's a Californian.
Is he California? I need more drool on it then.
Or Valley Girl. Totally.
I took a pay cut.
So I took a selfie. Jesus.
Jesus. Can we please put but first let me take a selfie. Can we put that in the bin, please? That needs to go. That's music that did not qualify as music. It's all very subjective, isn't it? So Salesforce, what's the current head count?
75,000.
I think it's 70,000 or something. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people there.
Salesforce and Vimeo cutting thousands of jobs layoff.
Vimeo.
Yeah,
they don't own Vimeo, do they?
I think maybe they do.
Is it one of these things where they just own all the things and you don't know?
Yep. It's a giant fat one, like 30% of the workforce.
A shout out if she's watching to our community manager for EMA for Vonage. She might be listening because I hadn't checked my Slack yesterday. I tried to tell her about some boring work thing of like, have I done a report on something? And she replied with, I've suddenly worked out who you are. And I thought, okay, this is not expected. I thought it was going to be, I thought it was like, look, if it's something boring like Martin Freeman, apparently Martin Freeman is a thing. And also a short James Acaster. Apparently that's another one. And then Lucinda like genuinely shocked me. She said, a much younger and thinner Johnny Vegas. And I thought, no, I don't think that.
Oh, for God's sake, they've clipped the took a selfie thing. And now that's going to get used against me for weeks.
That's your fault. You did the take a selfie. Sorry, can I have sympathy for my Johnny Vegas thing? And you can take some, and I'll give you sympathy.
My brain is just going, yo, I actually know you are like Johnny Vegas when he lost weight.
Did he lose lots of? Is he like what I was talking about, Chris Moyles, when he suddenly was?
He's not quite Chris Moyles or Jonah Hill, but he has lost. But you're not northern. You're not. You're also not that funny.
I don't sound like thanks. I mean, that's what was two things. Like you're not northern. Okay, I'll take that as a compliment. You're not funny. Okay, not so good. I don't pretend to be funny. I just studied comedy. You know that. That's my line.
You just act like you're funny.
Brilliant. And also my favorite thing is that Lucinda is actually watching. So the Johnny Vegas thing, really? Are you going to back her up on this?
I'm going to find a picture of Johnny Vegas to remind myself.
I gotta sound like I smoke 40 fucking fags a day.
I bought a caravan.
Play with what caravan? Why don't you play with pillars and things?
Actually, with the weird like stubble goatee that you have.
Yes. Yes. I've only tried to grow a beard once in about 2013, and it was dreadful, and it did look like the stupid goatee thing.
No, you're not as portly as Johnny Vegas.
Portly. Well, I think that was Lucinda's point. Was like, well, you don't obviously, you don't look from that perspective.
But the 5 o'clock shadow you're sporting right there, it's
you're agreeing with her.
Partially.
PG6 for monkey.
Thank you, Lucinda. I'm going to use that one for a while.
Why did I even mention that?
Why? You're right, Johnny.
I should have mentioned that. And also, Johnny's quite close to Jimmy as well, isn't it? So you could sort of dine out.
I'm never coming to call you Jimmy.
Jimmy. All right, Jimmy.
Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy. I see you, pal. You doing some podcast, that shit.
But to be fair, I did hear the best one for you previously, which is Jimothy.
Oh no, Jimothy's that's some of my oldest mates have been doing that for years. So that's I'm fine with that one. Right. I mean, I think that's gone off Salesforce. So I think we should wrap up because I need to go home. This again, as if like you're my wife. Oh, this again. God, I've told you how many times. Can you make sure you lock the toilet door?
I don't want to know the context of where that one comes from.
That's the kind of thing that happens with a this again.
So now
you wait. You move to Canada.
I'm divorced. I've already been through it.
Okay. Well, okay. After that, when you move to Canada and you've got and your missus, you'll get some of this.
Yeah. All right. Fair. So yes. I'm going to delete the other one so that I don't accidentally post them because it's the open source chat GPT.
Should we save that for next time?
You want to save it?
But there isn't time to discuss it.
No, I don't want to discuss it. Do we want to save it or just find the next bunch of random shit we'll go on?
No, let's find the next. But it wasn't that interesting.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually fixing the speaker notes for later so I can actually, when I do the editing, I know what I'm doing.
You wanted it? What you want? You being a professional?
No.
Just like, I love it when Mike's face goes close to the mic. Of like, what's he going to come out with? What's this going to be? Normally it's like some sort of in joke in your head, and I've got no idea what it is, and it's not funny. That tends to be what it is, anyway.
That's very true.
You got to do better than that.
No. But yeah, okay, like screw it then. Yes, that's it.
Oh, exactly. Look, sociable Steve, be organised. Who are you? I was going to do like a big "Who is she?" Joke from Big Brother, but Nikki Graham sadly had a very terrible life, and that's not a great ending point for the podcast. Ignore I said that.
Good.
Lollipops and rainbows,
Puppies.
And that I'm a cat person rather than puppies, but no.
I know I've had your cat on the podcast.
Are you actually?
No, I've had your cat's arse.
You haven't.
On
You
the
haven't been,
podcast.
of course, my cat's arse. My cat's arse is a feature of almost who I am now. Team meetings, Vonage, you got it. Talking to my mentee at School of Code, you got it. Cat's arse, little puckered up arsehole. There you go. Enjoy that. The tail up in the air. And I know that anybody listening right now will sympathise with me if you've got a cat, and it's a cat that needs attention, because some cats just like don't care, mate, and they're just off. As soon as I start a meeting, it's like my human is speaking to somebody. I must put my cat arse in the way. There you go. Exactly. That is the most appropriate comment of the day, I think. Yeah. So, are you allergic to cats?
No.
Right. Okay. It's just that my neighbours and then two of our best mates, actually about three of our best mates who come around to our house regularly, all allergic to cats. And the cat smells.
Oh yeah, Matt's allergic, isn't he?
Yes. When Matt Andrews comes around, he's allergic to cats. Ben Paddock, Ben Paddock's girlfriend, Marnie, she's allergic to cats.
Paddock's isn't, but
no, his girlfriend's allergic to cats. Oh. And so straight away the cat goes, yes, awesome, I have another victim.
I smell fear.
Like a different kind of smelling of fear, like wasps, just like they're a different predatory species, but cats are like, yeah, I'm gonna just annoy you because I can.
Cats are the ultimate. I like to stir the pot. There's shits and giggles to be had here. Let's go,
exactly.
boy.
Let's a bit like my Devrel newsletter thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. I like to stir the pot. I very much don't like stirring the pot. I like the pot. If the pot is like gruel, I'm happy to eat it. But sometimes things come along and it needs chili sauce. Do you know what I mean?
My brain is just going cat's arsehole and chili sauce. What?
It's a combination that no one needs to think about, I think.
And on that bombshell, good night.
Yeah, can we drop on that bombshell? Because Jeremy Clarkson's a bit of a dick, isn't he?
Yeah.
Let's just not do that. Can we think of another thing to say?
Everyone
does it. Everyone does it.
I like Hammond though, because I've been watching The Smallest Cog.
He's all right.
Quite fun.
He did. I watched a video that my wife found yesterday, and it was him cooking a dish of carbonara and getting it all wrong. And I can't remember what it was. And he was pretending that it was Scottish carbonara. He was cooking Scottish carbonara, and I thought, and he's pretending to be Scottish. And I'm like, I know you don't want to be from Birmingham, but you are. Because he is.
He's not from Birmingham. He's from Solihull.
I'm not from Birmingham. I'm from Solihull.
He's from the royal town.
The royal town of Solihull. Have you spoken to someone from Solihull? All right, mate. Yeah, no, I'm not a Brummie. I'm fancy, me.
Like the inverse of Jim.
I am actually. I'm the ultimate reverse Brummie.
Sounds posh, isn't.
I'll take it. I hope you've enjoyed listening, everyone. I think let us know if we went suitably off topic. We covered all the topics actually in the agenda.
No, we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
didn't we? Apart from the rubbish one. I've
done the same thing as Attic did, and I just removed something so that it's more achievable.
Oh, just leave it in next time, because if we,
what we failed to go off topic on the list.
Go off topic on this next time.
But yes. Anyway, Jim has to go home because he supposedly has a life.
Yes, I do.
So thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you later. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.